Hello, welcome back to Only Pistols. Today we're having a look at a Walther CP200. This is a single shot CO2 powered 177 target pistol. Production date 2000. Let's start by looking at the markings on it. On this side you've got the markings for the dry fire selector, the Walther banner over the model CP200. On the end of the muzzle shroud you've got the power source CO2, and on the other side of the muzzle shroud there you've got Walther banner. And then under the loading lever, you've got the German low pressure mark, caliber 4.5, so 177, serial number, and made in Germany. On the grip, you've got the Walther banner again engraved and an F in a crown, which stands for Furstenberg, who are now the company making the grips for Walther. The grip is a nicely shaped one-piece hardwood grip with an adjustable palm shelf. And you also now have got the facility to alter the angle of the grip. So if you take the grip off, there's two screws in the top of the grip, and by screwing those out you can decrease the angle that the grip sets at on the pistol. I've got it set as much rake as I can because I like a drop grip, so that's how I set it for me. But you do have the facility to move it, and it's at about 8 degrees. Rear sight, adjustable for windage and elevation and marked, and very easy, click adjustable, and a very nice rear sight. You also have got the ability to adjust the rear sight gap, so we use an Allen key in here, and you can set it at either 3 or 4 millimeters, and it just runs on a cam, so two positions are available. Foresight is an interchangeable element, and you've also got 3 positions that you can set that in to just alter the sight radius very slightly, fine tuning. And in the muzzle shroud, in the barrel shroud, in there you can just about see the end of the barrel, which is a rifled steel barrel with quite a deep recessed crown. Into that gap to act as a compensator air stripper, and then the aluminium air stripper itself for the pellet to come out through into clean air. Construction, so rifled steel barrel as said, and then you've got an aluminium barrel shroud, and now an aluminium CO2 cylinder. Coming back to the pistol itself, you then get an aluminium regulator, and the action itself is aluminium as well. The trigger is fully adjustable, so all the settings are available with the trigger in place. So over travel and first, second stage weights. So all fully adjustable. You can also adjust the depth that the trigger shoe sits at by just undoing the screw on the bottom. So all fully adjustable. Probably less adjustment than you would think on some, but it's still a very usable trigger and very comfortable to use. Holdover from the earlier C series pistols is by undoing the grub screws there and there, you can still remove the trigger unit. Although, as I said before, with all the adjustments available with the trigger in place, why would you want to remove it other than necessarily for cleaning? Possibly. It doesn't tend to get very dirty. And what I have found is when you do put it back in, you do feel that it is very slightly different, although it's not meant to be. But I tend to set it and leave it in place. CO2 powered. So the CO2 cylinders, as I said, are now aluminium. You've got a new style filling adapter on this, so it's slightly larger, but it's all aluminium, and it's still just a blow open. So with this, it's marked for Walther for the production, and it gives you a weight of 67 grams of CO2 to be filled. There is a dry weight under here of the cylinder empty, but it's been covered by this sticker which shows you the production date, or this date of 2000, and the total weight of 276, so when it's fully charged. But that's now aluminium, so considerably lighter. Historically these were typically steel, so better volume and lighter. Still filled from an old fire extinguisher in my case. What you then have, which is quite a bit different, is it's regulated. So typically with CO2, because you're putting liquid CO2 in, that then evolves into a gas. Usually you would then have a stilling chamber to just allow to make sure that you've got an evolved gas in here, and then you would have the hammer with the knocking the valve open. With this, because there was some concern that you were getting variability in pressures because of changes in temperature, a thing possibly, what Walther have got now is they've actually got a regulator. So you've got a Belleville washer stack in here, which is actually regulating that pressure that's being fed into the action. So bottom braces, although as I said, with CO2, generally, if you've got liquid CO2, you've got a very stable power source. Changing the dry fire, as in common with most of these pistols, it's a case of setting the action. So you pull the lever up to pull the cocking lever, pull the hammer back and set the sear, trigger sear, and then using Walther's handily supplied tool, insert that in and just turn that round so it's now on test, so dry fire. At that point you can then close the lever down and just take up the weight on the trigger, and you get exactly the same feel as you would if you were using the pistol with it in live fire. So before on this, it's slightly clunky because of course you've got to put the pistol down, change hands, put the tool in and change it. So it's quite an operation to do it. I mean, you can do it, it's fine. But if you want to do that on the firing line, if you get a bit of a wobble and you decide you'd like to just kind of do some dry fire training or dry fire shots against the target just to settle you down, you're having to do quite a lot of changes by comparison with, say, fine work bow, where you just literally have a button to push through, or some of the others where you've got levers to pull. So having to find a tool, having to change hand, yeah, it just spoils it slightly, but perfectly serviceable dry fire facility. So loading it, lift the lever up, and as I said, what's happening there is you're pulling back the pellet probe there with its seal, pulling the pellet probe back, and that then cocks the hammer against its spring and sets the trigger sear. Pellet probe, so when you fire the pistol, the hammer goes forwards, knocks the valve open, which releases CO2 up into the breech, and the pellet probe is hollow, so the CO2 is coming in behind into the pellet probe and then directly into the back of the pistol, into the back of the pellet. Loading it, nice open wide loading tray, plenty of space, and you literally just drop the pellet on it, no effort at all, and then just close the lever over, and it's in fire. Take up the first stage and it fires. So really easy, no effort involved at all, and it's a really easy one to load. So nice open tray, plenty of space. And I've seen just a little bit of CO2 exiting on the end of there. CO2 powered, so quite loud. So yeah, regulated. So that, as I said, that Belleville washer stack. That was one of the adaptations on this one. This being year 2000, this is now definitely in the era of high pressure air PCP. And there was actually a version of this pistol that was actually air powered, all but identical. And we'll touch on that one in a different video. But you got the option to have one of either type. So if you were used to using CO2, you were set up for CO2 with filling kit and everything else, then Walther gave you the option to have carry on using CO2. If you were new to the sport and you were going to go with the newfangled high pressure air PCP, then they had the same pistol available for you. But what you have here is a thoroughly modern pistol. The grip, not quite as adjustable as some are now, but very good, well proportioned, really good sights, very easy to use. The weight was excellent. You did have the option of a barrel weight that would sit over the top and grip onto the barrel shroud. I find the balance pretty good, and certainly with that aluminium CO2 cylinder now, there's a lot less forward weight on it. Accuracy wise, it's a 10 meter pistol. It's more than capable of shooting a 1-hole group. I'm not, but anyway, it's a perfectly good pistol and perfectly serviceable for taking 10 meter targets. One thing I've got with these is I use 8.2 grain pellets, so the rifle weight, and I find that a lot of my CO2 pistols actually prefer that. So there you go. The Walther CP200 transition pistol. Nothing wrong with it, absolutely perfect. If you can get your hands on one, do. They're excellent. They're still thoroughly competitive pistols. If you get a chance to use one, do. They're a great pistol to shoot and a real eye-opener. If you've liked this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and otherwise I'll see you again soon with another pistol. Thanks very much. Bye.